How's it feel to get the contract done and situated?
It's good to have it behind us. You know, we're getting close to the season. You know, incredibly humbling experience. So I'm glad to get that behind us.
What was it like to get out there, practice, and get back into the swing of football?
I'm a football player, you know, and football players play football. So, you know, it's good to be back out there with the guys. Not that I didn't enjoy coaching, but that's not what I'm here to do. Looking forward to getting after quarterbacks.
How did you feel from the conditioning standpoint?
You know, Joey Boze did a great job of keeping me in shape, whether that was forms of conditioning and weightlifting, and really got after it the last month. So this practice went well. You know, football's a tough sport, and I'm looking forward to getting back in shape. But I'm ready to go.
First time working with Jerry in a real practice. How was that, getting to hear from him and what he brings to the table?
He's a great coach. He loves ball. That's evident. Teacher of the game. You know, he's definitely sees it in a different perspective, and it's good to see the guys around him flourishing. And I look forward to getting with him more and more.
What kind of relief is it?
What kind of relief is it, Trey, to have the focus now entirely on football after the last 6 months you've been through?
Yeah, the priority was always the 2025 Bengals, whatever this looked like. You know, unfortunately for me, I can't write my own contracts. You know, that's something that we had, you know, common ground in finding, and that's what we're doing now, and that's what's best for the 2025 Bengals. I think is just to suit up and play, and incredibly humbled by the experience.
Negotiations are difficult. How would you describe your relationships with the Browns and the Blackburns after what was a long process?
Yeah, again, you know, I can only say it so many times, and I feel like the compromise between us was mutual. I mean, to be given a raise in the current circumstances, you know, with a lot of things this offseason being brought up about that extension that I signed, this now adds whatever the total was to that extension. So in some ways it was an incredible honor to be in that position. It definitely was common ground with the other forms of negotiation not going the way we thought.
How do you feel like the whole process went overall from first?
Yeah, you know, I think, you know, it's difficult in some ways. You know, I'm not a huge media guy. I'm not a huge, like, you know, I would love to be out there with the team. That's what I'm here for, to give this knowledge to the guys around me. It was unfortunate that it took so long, but again, we're here. 2025 Bengals are hopefully a better team with me on it.
At what point did you decide, like, listen, even, you know, you were steadfast the entire time about the long-term deal, getting guaranteed. At what point did you have to make the decision of, listen, you know, it's just not happening and I need to get ready for the season? Like, what was that process like as you kind of evaluated the offer?
Yeah, this option wasn't here the whole time. I'll just leave it at that. When it presented itself, I was incredibly humbled by it. My wife and I prayed about it, and it was something that we collectively felt good about. Again, in retrospect, it helps me with that extension that I signed, and also in some ways it helps the 2025 Bengals. So I feel like it's a mutual common ground and a mutual respect between us that we weren't finding solutions in any other way.
Given the way the past couple of years have gone, not just this offseason, does that give you some perspective, make it easier to not worry about 2026 and March and anything like that and just focus on this year?
I focus on every year like it's the most important year for me and my family, so this is not something that I'm unfamiliar with. Going into every season, I think this season in specific, I'd like to raise the guys around me up a little bit better than I have in the past. You know, I'm excited to be a better teammate, raise up the standard of what the guys around me are playing at, and not only leading with my play, but vocalizing what I believe in on the field.
What did you learn about yourself with that in mind, Trey, and would you be open to being a captain of this defense?
Well, captain's not something I can control. For the last couple of years, I didn't want to have to skip OTAs or training camp, and that's where communicating with them that I wanted to be a captain, but I have to do what's best. What I see is what's best is for my family. So it contradicted itself in some ways that, you know, I follow faith, family, football in that order, and you know, it was difficult to navigate the waters with such a love for the Bengals team.
You've talked so much about how long-term security is the most important thing to you in this process. Did you and your agent have any conversations with them about the potential tag next year and what that could maybe do for you?
Yeah, you know, with the salaries going up and the tag also will be going up, so it's not something that I'm concerned about. I have to focus on what the 2025 Bengals means to me, and I want to be a part of something special here. I've vocalized that pretty early and often. Again, I can't write my own contracts. I think we'd all, as players, love to do that. There wasn't one that I saw long term that I would have considered. So again, this compromise comes with a great amount of respect for me towards them. I'm incredibly honored and appreciative that I can play football at this level.
Was this week kind of like a deadline almost for you, so you could get ready for week 1? Were you viewing it that way?
No, I don't think there's any pressure a player can put on an organization. It's the willingness of an organization to kind of move forward. I can only do it in a way that I'm trying to protect myself as a player while the negotiations are going on. It kind of leaves us in a tough spot because, I'd love to be out there with the team, but again, we're going through something that's much greater than we could ever fathom. So, for lack of a better word, I have to be patient until something comes.
There's a lot of conversation about guys falling off as they get older. What have you made of that? A lot of people talk about your age and the long-term deal. How have you felt like your performance will go through long-term as you continue to get older?
Yeah, I don't know if I can speak on that. Like, what I can say is I look forward to proving the people that believe in me right. And, in some ways that's an age is a thing. But, again, I take a lot of pride in my off seasons and the way I train. So I think age is just a number. I plan on playing at a high level for a long time.
What's it like when you hear that when people are like, they have questions about someone as they get older, continue to produce at the level you produce? What's it like hearing that, knowing how you prepare the practice?
Yeah. If I cared about what people said, I would have been cut in New Orleans in 2019 while I was playing special teams. So, I never looked at other people's opinion of me as something that I value. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. I can't change that. All I can do is play on Sundays the highest level that I can play.
This was a long process, but do you feel like the organization is in your corner and believes in you after this?
Absolutely. To be given a raise for what I do for a living, at any level, I think in life, getting a raise is an incredible thing. So I'm incredibly humbled by the experience. I learned a lot about myself, as we kind of alluded to, about patience and perseverance and, and prayer, the power of prayer, in any circumstance is important. So to get closer in faith, to be a better football player than I was in the previous years is something I look forward to.
Is there anything you would have done differently, Trey, over the last 6 to 8 months?
No, I think everything worked out. I think it's fine. Like I said, I'm not in control of a lot of things. I don't think players ever will be. Across the league, that's going to be something. So, again, we're just adapting with where this salary cap is going and where the edge rushers are going, like that for me personally, and try to fit in wherever I can for what's best for Trey Hendrickson, not necessarily what, anything else. Like, we have our foundation of beliefs, and we live by those.